In this video, I want to talk to you about 5 steps to buying your first home in 2019. I have Daniel Jones, my good mate, with me, who is a loan broker, a mortgage professional, and we're going to talk through these 5 points today. As Christians, it's so critical to own your first home, well, for anyone really. Owning your home, and especially the place you live, is the best wealth creation step that anyone can take, and it's so vital. And I'm pretty passionate about this, as Dan is, so yes. I want to do a quick video to kind of show you how you can get into a house with not much money, when out in the media and everything often they're saying you can't do it. So I'm sitting here, it's 2019, we're in July, and the Housing Minister, Michael Sukkar, has just come out and said, if you want to buy your first home, this is the time. Interest rates are at an all-time low. The banks are loaning money easier, lending easier than they have for probably the last
a long time.
Year or two. Also, the housing market, where we live in Victoria, Australia, even Sydney as well, has taken a bit of a dip.
Yes.
So this is what happens in economies or in people who create wealth, is they watch these ebbs and flows, and then a perfect storm appears, like right now, for first homeowners, when you can get into the market. And as Christians, we want to be people who own our homes, create wealth, not so that we have bigger holidays and better TVs, but really so we can be well positioned to advance the kingdom of God. So in 2008, I bought my first home, and luckily I'd saved up some money, and Dan helped me buy it.
Yep.
It got me my first loan.
Yep.
And it's because I actually heard someone speak exactly what we're doing in this video and said, this is a good time to do it. I was 25, I wasn't like Dan, who knew the system a bit better, but I just jumped in and trusted, and thank goodness I had saved 20 grand, which helped me. There was some government grants going, and I trusted a few people around me and took the step. Was able to get my first home, and now I've got another home that I live in, and still got that original one as an investment property, and I'm just a little old pastor. So let's talk through these 5 points. The first point is that you've got to save a small deposit.
Yeah.
If you don't save a small deposit, you're in trouble, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah, well, you really need 5% would be the aim as a minimum. There's other costs, of course, when you buy a property, conveyancing fees, there's some transfer costs that you'll incur along the way. So really at a minimum, 5% would be the aim or the goal, just to get yourself going. Sometimes when you're starting out saving for a property, it seems like a daunting task, or can I ever get there? Property prices are always going up and saving so hard. But if you just start with a simple 5% aim of where you're actually trying to get to, of the property that you want to purchase, that's a wonderful place to start. Yeah.
And the thing is, anyway, when you have your own home, you've got to take responsibility for your loan and everything.
Exactly.
So if you can't save beforehand,
yeah,
you're going to be in trouble, aren't you?
Definitely. Well, that dips into genuine savings, which the banks really like to see, that you're able to save in amongst the cost of living and the general expenses that we all incur day to day. So showing that savings whilst you're renting, or especially if you're living at home with mum and dad, you should be saving as much as you possibly can, really demonstrates to the banks that you are credit worthy. Yeah.
Great. The second step, and this is a real key one in our amazing nation of Australia, is there's always government grants going. So tell us a bit about those at the moment.
Yeah, so what we have available at the moment, if people are looking to build their own home, there's $10,000 first homeowner grant available in Victoria. There's no stamp duty available up to $600,000 in purchases as well, which is wonderful, so that's waived. And also there's the article that you mentioned before there, Pastor Caleb, it's in the works at the moment, where 10,000 grants will be given, or 10,000 government guarantees will be given, and the exact mechanics or details of those will be released over the next coming months, we believe. But there's always great initiatives from our government to get in and own your own home, which is really good. So
you've saved a little bit of money, step one. Step two, there's a government grant, and one of Dan's heroes, Warren Buffett, and someone I've read a lot about, says, never waste money, never lose money. And this is kind of the inverse of that. If there's free money on offer from the government, you got to do everything you can to get your hands on that.
Yep.
I mean, stamp duty, you'd get how much back?
Well, in a property in our area, you'd be saving at least $22,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big saving.
And so to not access that when other generations have never had a hand up like that, you're just crazy. That's free money there. The third thing is, and this is to get into your first home, which would seem impossible, the third step is really the key. If you can put together a little proposal to get equity, maybe off parents, grandparents, a friend even, a family member, what what can help there is that they can sow some money into your deposit to help you get started. Tell us what that would look like.
Yeah, well, for me, I think the most important thing is you actually have a plan and you know where you want to go. Yes. So if I'm sitting, I've got quite young children, but if I fast forward to when they're in their 20s or late teens wanting to buy a property, for me, I'd want to know, what am I actually guaranteeing? So, mum and dad, I want to buy a property in this suburb. The entry-level property in this suburb is 400,000 or 500,000, whatever that may be. Therefore, mum and dad, I've done the sums and my income and my living expenses allow me to borrow this. I've met with a loan professional or I've done some online calculations, which often those online calculations can be wrong, mind you. So it's always worthwhile actually running it past a professional. But mum and dad, we believe the repayments are affordable. I need perhaps a family pledge is one way of doing it, or perhaps you might be able to use some of your equity to help me get into the property market is a really good way to go and can leapfrog or fast track your entry into the property market.
Yeah, and I think this is a real key. So my wife, her dad loaned her $50,000 before we were married to get into her home. She was able to buy a unit as a university student, but that $50,000 that her dad had in equity, he was able to use that and to help her get over the line. And then we got married, and about 18 months later, I reckon, we paid it back to him.
Yep.
Wow, which was amazing. So that's a lot of parents even, or grandparents, won't see this or understand this. That's why this step is so critical. As Dan said brilliantly, come up with a little plan, do the calculations and show them so they can actually go, wow, if I take a little bit of my equity and give it to you, you could be across the line, with a loan. We have a house, then you'll have a house. So the family is creating more wealth just by helping each other out a little bit.
Most banks will allow you to limit the guarantee too. So sometimes when speaking to parents, they'll be concerned that they're guaranteeing all the loan or all the debt or whatever. But most banks will actually allow parents to actually do a pledge for a portion or specific amount. So, obviously every family is different and the family conversation will be different from family to family, but, whatever mum and dad feel comfortable guaranteeing, with most banks, that's actually something that can be done as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And then fourth step is quite simple. You've got to get someone like Dan. Yep. You need a loan broker. Now, if you go to a loan broker or mortgage broker rather than a bank, then you're going to get, how many options or access do you have?
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. So there's more lenders all the time. I'd have over 30 lenders available to me on my panel. And I think the important point there is if your bank has said no, it may not necessarily be no. So I was previously a bank manager for one of Australia's biggest banks for a very long time. And there I had one lending policy that I could lend in, or 4 loans. Now I've got so many more options available to me. And so the important point there, I would say, is when picking a loan professional, I think the best way is word of mouth. So talk to your friends and family. Who have they used, and has their service been good? Has the outcome been good? Have they been happy? And then go and see that particular person. So banks have their role and play their place. Obviously, loan professionals work with the banks, but making sure that if one bank has said no, there may be other options out there available.
Really good. And the fifth step, pretty simple in some ways, but also very difficult in other ways. You've got to just seize the day.
Go for it.
When these moments arrive, this is the time to jump in and give it a go. Even if you shake the tree as hard as possible, go to mum and dad, go to a loan broker, whatever, and nothing happens, at least you pushed it as far as you could to try and get into your first home. You're probably not going to buy your dream home, so don't worry about that. But if you can just get in right at the bottom, even a unit or an apartment, just to get into the market, wealth creation, especially making wealth off housing, is often about time. You just need time to sit on that property so that it can grow in value over time. So the quicker you can get in, the better. But you've got to have this attitude of seize the day, get out there and do it. Ask someone for help. We all need help, but you've got to make that happen. So hope that video helps you a little bit. Thank you very much, Dan, for your expertise. If you've got any comments or questions, please put them down below and we'll try and answer them. I'll also link into a wealth creation series that Dan preached and I did a couple of years ago, which has got a lot more information about how to create wealth, buying homes and doing these kind of things. So bless you.